Welcome to Mothering Holistically with Kaylee Berlin. That's me. This is my first episode of Mothering Holistically, so I just wanted to briefly introduce myself and let you know what I'm all about. As a first-time mom, fresh off of girl boss mode, where I personally turned a school bus into a mobile spa, offering both aesthetic and massage services, I thought I was on my way. Well, I sold my bus, got married, had my absolutely heart-stopping twin baby girls, and lost myself. At this time, my one and only goal was to exclusively nurse my daughters and survive, which I'm so thankful and blessed to say I did. I nursed and I survived, but I didn't thrive. There were so many feelings that came with having my daughters, feeling inadequate, incapable, disconnected, and less than. I gained an ungodly amount of weight, weighing more than I did when I was even pregnant with my daughters. I stopped caring about myself, pouring every ounce of energy into my husband and daughters. I put myself last and never found time for me. Honestly, still get emotional thinking about it. The woman staring back at me when I dared look at myself in the mirror was unrecognizable. I kept searching for the old Kaylee, the bold, driven dreamer who built a spa on wheels. Well, the kicker is, I'm no longer that person. I can't find my way back because the Kaylee I was no longer exists. This realization freed me. It wasn't that I needed to find my way back. I just needed to do something to keep me from becoming more of what I was. I had to ask myself, what does the new me look like? How can we make her a reality? And slowly, so slowly, I started to chip away at the things that didn't serve me to reveal the beauty that is me underneath. So this is my journey, and I'm inviting you to walk it with me. My name is Kaylee Berlin, and this is my podcast about mothering holistically, rediscovering myself, and picking you up along the way. I'm not where I want to be, maybe I never will be, but I'm moving forward, and I'm sharing every real, raw step. Welcome to my story. So honestly, what really triggered this paradigm shift, because I do feel like I had a paradigm shift, I have completely 180'd who I was. I was staying up late, I was munching at night, I was having some friction with my husband just because I wasn't mentally there. I was struggling with myself, struggling with putting up boundaries with family and friends. And, I'm newly married. So that also took a toll with having twins, becoming newly married. And so I had this shift, and really what triggered it was I really got to a low point. Your kids grow up faster than you expect. And like I said, I was staying up late, and I would basically just wake up, make my daughters breakfast, and try to play with them as much as I could, and then turn on the TV just so I could sneak in a nap. And my daughters would slap me around. They would slap me around and kind of get upset with me. And I'm laughing at it because I'm really embarrassed about it, but it triggered me. I was like, this is not who I want to be. This is not the person, this is not the mother that I've always wanted to be. I've definitely wanted to be someone who was up and at 'em and positive, kind of like I am now, ready to take on the day. At this point in my life, I just couldn't keep up. I couldn't keep up with all of life's demands, and I knew something needed to change. And a big part of that was that I was weighing 220 pounds. I'm overweight and not happy. I'm down, I'm depressed because when I look at myself, like I said, when I dared look at myself in the mirror, I just wasn't seeing what I wanted to see. Growing up, I, did a bunch of different activities. I stayed active. My brothers did football, so then I was running alongside them as they were training. And I just always worked out. I mean, I did track. I wouldn't say I was a star or anything like that. Growing up, I really did struggle with sticking to things. As I am maturing, I understand that growing up in a divorced household does kind of impact that. So I did have trouble sticking to things, and that is a story for another time on how I shifted that, just trying to improve myself over the years. I'm not ashamed to say I'm 29 now. So I've made shifts. It's not the first time I've made a shift, but as a mom, this was the hardest. This was the hardest because, like I said, I went into this like, okay, when I have my babies, I'm gonna get my body back. I'm gonna be an amazing, well, we all are amazing moms. I can't beat myself up, but there was just goals that I had. There was expectations that I had for myself. And when you have expectations for yourself, in my opinion, those are things that we can change. So that it was the biggest shift. My daughter's not liking that. I was so tired because I was going to bed late. I had no energy to wake up before my daughters. I would say around 15 months, they started to sleep in, and it was very expected for them to wake up by 7. So I knew that they were going to wake up around 7. So I could definitely go to sleep at a certain time so that I would be energized and awake. But I didn't. I slacked off. Like I said, I would eat late, snack late. I wouldn't prioritize making sure that I ate dinner so that I wasn't trying to snack late, like make dinner. They ate, then my daughters ate. So why didn't I, prepare for me to eat as well, or just eat a substantial amount and discipline myself? That's basically what caused me to shift. I was unhappy with myself. I had no energy, and I wasn't able to just keep up with life's demands. So what changes did I make? I started changing slowly, very slowly, like I stated in the beginning. My first one, I would say, was that I stopped munching. I stopped munching at night, and I started eating dinner with my daughters and just cleaning up the kitchen, brushing my teeth, because that helps me to like not eat. Like, you're like, well, I already brushed my teeth, I'm not going to eat again. So usually I brush my teeth, like I go upstairs, brush my teeth, then go to bed. But I would brush my teeth after dinner so that I didn't want to eat again. So I stopped munching, and then I would say I bought a prayer journal, a women's devotional, and I also bought a journal, or used a notebook to start journaling, because I was dealing with some things in my marriage. Just, it was my problems spilling over into my marriage. And because it wasn't nothing my husband was doing, it was causing friction because he was like confused as to why I was upset. And it wasn't his fault. I was just in a mental space that I needed to work through and work out. And bless his soul, bless his heart, God bless him. He's very patient with me and he loves me. So, of course, he tried, but a person is human and there's only so much that they can do and only so much patience they can have for one thing. So I knew I needed to do something. So I bought a journal to help kind of jot down what I was thinking and why I was getting frustrated, why I was putting that on him. And I was able to write that out and see where my frustrations are really coming from. And then because I could see that, I can make a plan to set boundaries so that that isn't causing more emotional stress onto myself. And boundaries are really important. It's so hard with certain people to like set boundaries, but I'm still working on it. Anywho, so I bought the journal and I started journaling. And then from there, I started to feel a little bit better, especially because I was doing my devotion. I was praying. I've always prayed, but I was just in my Bible, doing my devotion, leaning on the Lord more. And I should have wrote this down, but I didn't. But there was the first scripture in the prayer journal that basically said, the Lord will walk with you and help you see you through your plans. And even though I knew that, just seeing that and being in this new frame of mind, seeking help, needing that, it definitely resonated with me more. And I didn't feel so alone. I was like, God's with me. I'm the youngest of 5. So I've always been the type of person that needed someone with me. I always felt like I needed someone with me, whether it be grocery shopping, going to the movies. I have a friend who can go to Disneyland by herself, and I've always thought she was crazy. But now it's not that she's crazy. I see it as, I wish I was bold enough to go do something like that, especially because sometimes we don't always have someone who wants to do what we want to do. And then we just don't do it because we're like, oh, well, no one wants to come with me. But then that kind of hinders your life. And who wants that? So if we can empower ourselves to do things on our own, then we can live those experiences that we want to live, and we don't have nothing standing in our way. And I've always been struggling with like going to the gym. I'm kind of getting ahead, but I didn't want to go by myself. And I also felt kind of like stuck in being in my home. Like, I want to work out in my home because I started doing Grow with Joe workouts, and that was on YouTube. And so I was doing that, and I put the pedal to the metal. I was doing it 6 days a week, Sunday through Friday. I was making sure that I at least did a 35-minute workout, making sure that I was dripping sweat and feeling like, yeah, I did it. I worked out. And then on top of that, I packed on yoga because I wanted to feel like I'm getting more flexible. My kids are young. We do want to have more kids. So I'm like, okay, well, I also need to be flexible so I can get down and be with my kids. So those are kind of like my focuses. And I would say I was doing that for about 3 weeks. I, of course, was eating less because I stopped munching at night and I stopped eating around like 6 because that's when my daughters would eat. And I hit a wall. My husband found me just like leaning because we have a stackable washer and dryer. So I was just like leaning into the dryer and I was like dead. It was about 3 weeks in. So I was working out consistently 6 days a week for 3 weeks and died. It's like, I'm so tired. I was so tired. And of course, the Lord knows. He knows your heart and he knows that whatever you're seeking, he knows. So then a mind pump, I'm kind of like jumping all over the place, but this is pretty much the story of, I would say this happened about like 2 months ago, a little bit over 2 months ago, where the shift and the slow changes towards this new me that, of course, like I said, I'm nowhere near the person that I truly want to be, but I'm way different than I was just 2 months ago. And so, with that being said, Mind Pump Media happened to pop up on my suggested YouTube videos. And I was kind of seeking advice on fitness and things. So it popped up. I just like to say it was divine intervention. The Lord brought this video for me, and they were specifically talking about the importance of women training, like strength training, getting stronger, and kind of breaking down the myths and the pushback that they get a lot, which a lot of it I had. I didn't want to get bulky. I didn't want to look manly. These things that we are told or make up in our head that's going to happen when we get stronger or build muscle. And it's just completely not true. If you want to get bulky, if that is something that you want aesthetically, it's going to take a long time, like a long time. People get those physiques, like you see bodybuilders and stuff, they work at that. Like that is what they're doing. That's what they're focusing on. And a lot of times it takes years to even do, especially if you're starting from like big mama. So don't be scared of building muscle. First off, you need muscle to carry your kids. They're getting heavier day by day, and you need muscle to carry them, especially if you want to carry them for a long time. They're my babies. I have two, so I need both my arms. I can't just have a weak left arm and thug it out on my right or what have you. I have two, so I need to build my back. I don't have the smallest boobies, so I need to build my back so I can have good posture. I can carry my kids. We have stairs, and of course, when they get tired, they want to get carried to their beds. I have to carry two growing babies upstairs, and especially if we go like, that was another reason why I didn't want to go anywhere, because we're in a 3-story townhome. So like I would have to carry them downstairs to get into the car. Sometimes I didn't want to do that because I was feeling weak, and building that strength has empowered me to want to do more and want to, I feel more exhilarated. Like I said, I'm getting ahead of myself because I'm so excited. So anywho, this Mind Pump Media podcast came up, and they were explaining that. And they were also explaining that a lot of people do what I was doing. They get so excited. They're fueled by the self-hate and they hit, guns blazing, and then they plateau or they don't have energy and they don't feel great. And then that's how they do this yo-yo. So my husband kind of had been telling me this, but we don't listen to the people closest to us. We always have to hear it from somebody else. So I was listening to them, and they mentioned Muscle Mommy, and my husband bought me Muscle Mommy last year. Okay. I did try it, but I didn't want to leave the house. So I did need some equipment that we didn't have. And basically it caused me to like not do it. And I had this plan, especially with Grow with Joe and yoga. I was like, okay, well, I'm going to lose weight. And then once I lose weight, then I'll start building muscle, which is exactly what Mind Pump Media suggests that you don't do. And I'll get into that in future episodes. So I'm just trying to talk about things that I did to help me and slow changes and kind of what I saw from those changes in just a little over 2 months. And so, anywho, back to my point, I was like, okay, because I did hit that wall. I was feeling that way. I did have those complaints. I was saying all that they were saying. So it definitely was like, yes, 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 that's me. That's who I am. And so after that, I was like, well, strength training is only 3 days a week. I could do that. And in the midst of all this, I don't know if y'all have heard, but Vanya.moves on Instagram, she was popping up on my algorithm as well. Because like I said, I was doing Grow with Joe and I was mainly doing her like strength. I was mainly doing her videos that incorporated weights. I was doing that even like before hearing this Mind Pump Media podcast, but I of course was doing it wrong and I was doing too much. So I needed a program. I needed a plan. I needed to feel empowered when I went to the gym. So I committed to myself that I was going to start going to the gym and I was going to wake up at 5 a.m, at least by 5:30. And so I would wake up. Well, geez, I'm sorry. This whole excitedness has messed me up with my timeline. So let's get back onto the timeline. I stopped munching. I bought my prayer journal, started doing devotion, and then I started doing my Grow with Joe. And I was feeling so encouraged that I wanted to wake up before the girls. I mentioned a little bit before that I wanted to wake up before my daughters because it felt like when I would wake up with them, it would just be, I would just jump into my day. It's like, imagine if, for those of us who have or had jobs, if we're stay-at-home moms, I'm a stay-at-home mom now, but for those of us that have jobs and then all of a sudden, instead of waking up, taking your shower, doing your hair, eating your breakfast, getting in your car, listening to a podcast on the way to work, and then arriving to work, all that mental preparation and mental ease into your day. Instead of that, you just woke up and you were at work. They were calling your name over the intercom or whatever. Hey, Kaylee, do you have da-da-da-da? And you're like, huh, what? What are you talking about? I don't even know how I got here. So that's kind of like how I was feeling, as soon as like they would be my alarm. I would have the baby monitor bedside. And when they started crying is when I would wake up. And so I was thrown into mommyhood and it was not pleasant. I couldn't, it just, we've woken up. We know how we feel when we wake up. So that's how I was feeling. And I wanted to wake up before. So after just starting Grow with Joe and Yoga with Adrian, I was like, babe, can you wake me up? And he was like, you're not going to get up. And I was like, mind you, this was like a weekend to me feeling amazing because I was proud of myself for working out. And so I was already ready to start building upon that momentum. And he's like, you're not going to wake up because I'm not a morning person. I've never been a morning person. It's always been something I said I wanted to do, but of course didn't follow through it. So I understood his drawback. So anyway, I prayed and I was like, Lord, you know my heart. You know what I'm trying to do for myself. Please wake me up by 5:30. And he did. He woke me up at 5:28. And when because my husband was like, fine, I'll set my alarm. He wasn't that mean. So he did set his alarm. And the only reason, of course, I have a phone, for those of you questioning, I usually turn off my phone due to the EMF waves. I don't want to make them stronger because my husband, he's the one that goes to work. So he usually has his phone next to him. And so I didn't want, anyways, now I turn off my Wi-Fi and I turn my phone on airplane mode so that my alarm will still go off. But then this is where my mindset was. Okay, I wasn't thinking clearly. I wasn't working out. I wasn't eating right. So at 5:28, the Lord woke me up. I woke up and then my husband's alarm went off 2 minutes later. I jumped up and he was like, oh, and I was like, yep. So I came downstairs, I did my devotion. So I would do my devotion, I would journal, I would do devotion, prayer journal, read my Bible, journal my thoughts, write how proud of myself I was for waking up. And then I would do yoga with Adrian. And that was my routine for, I would say like 2 weeks. I did that for like 2 weeks. So the first week, I was all over the place with my routine. I was just trying to get in the workout. Wherever I could fit it in, I would get it in. And then I was like, I need some structure to this. So, but I wasn't ready to work out and like sweat in the morning because I wouldn't have time to take a shower and to like clean myself. So I was like, okay, I'll wake up to ease myself in the day, to feel encouraged to, start doing my mommy duties and to get some time for myself, to prepare, to feel more prepared for the day. So wake up, devotion, yoga, then I would mom, and then at nap time, I would do my Grow with Joe. And that's how I did it for 2 weeks. And then when I hit that wall, listen to Mind Pump Media, I planned, okay, well, I'm already waking up. I'm feeling great, even though like I was tired, yes, but I was still thriving on this momentum of being proud of myself and feeling like I'm doing something for myself. And because I was waking up before the girls, I saw, how much more excited I was to do my job as a mom, to be there for my girls and to get them out of their beds and, to do everything that it takes to be a mom. I was ready. I felt ready for the day. And I was starting to get addicted to that. A good addicted, addicted to preparedness. That's a word. So anywho, when I listened to that, I was like, okay, I'm going to do my muscle mommy. I'm going to go to the gym no matter what. I'm going to wake up. And I did. I was so proud of myself. I don't have the exact date on me. I will like put it up on here because I also have been tracking, like putting in my calendars and things, the days. Like I do know exactly the day because I know this day. May 21st was the day I started to work out. I heard the saying, are you going to do it one day or is it going to be day one? And so in my calendar on May 21st, I wrote day one, 220 pounds. And, that was just me writing that. And then on like June 3rd or something, I can't remember the date, is when I wrote day one for waking up, which was like a week later or something like that. I know it was a Friday of waking up. And then I wrote, gym. I went to the gym in my calendar. So just reminders so I can look back and just see my progress and be proud of myself. So that was another little step that I did, and a little thing that I added was just marking those days down so that I can celebrate these little wins that I have. So I went to the gym, and when I got home, my goodness, I felt amazing. I mean, I was ready to clean the house. I was ready to take on my daughters, and it didn't take too long because I was just doing the Muscle Mommy program. And then at nap time, I still transitioned and did the Vanya. So I kind of briefly touched upon that. Vanya moves popped up on my algorithm, and I told my husband, like, hey, have you heard of this girl this moves method? And he was like, oh yeah, I bought you that too. And when I went to go to the program, yeah, he bought it in February. But never told me, or he said he told me, but I ignored him, which is probably true. Because I just didn't want to hear it at that time. Wasn't ready. But now I'm ready. I've been, anyway. So I was like, boom, because I loved her perspective on functional mobility, because I was doing yoga, but it's basically isometrics and things, even though you flow and things like that, it's a lot of isometrics. And I liked functional mobility because you need functionality when you're running around chasing twins. And even for those of us that maybe aren't taking care of babies, but like we're taking care of our parents, we need functionality. We need strength. If we're taking care of our elderly parents, they need help getting up. If they need help taking a shower, like we're that strength. We're their strength. And that takes muscle. So anyway, I'll touch upon that in another video. These are just things that are going back to why I've chosen these workouts and why I feel that they're important, especially as a mom. So strength training, the Muscle Mommy program, which of course, Muscle Mommy, it is specifically curated for moms, and knowing that we need pelvic floor work, knowing our different, so like they have trigger sessions and you can do pelvic floor, glutes, or abs, which is everything a mom, everything a woman wants to trigger. So it's just targeted for us. It's cute, it's pink, and it's very well laid out. It's easy to follow, it's clear, it's concise, and you only do it 3 days a week. In between those days, you have a trigger session, which is like a very light little trigger, like it's a little, like on your pelvic floor, you just do like vacuum poses, and then you can just do that, vacuum poses, and bird dogs, if different exercises. But then that's the only thing you do for that trigger session. It's very light. They say the magic is in the recovery, so you build the muscle while you rest, which is amazing. And so I did that, and then I added in Vanya. So Vanya says that it can be incorporated as a warm-up. So Vanya is also 6 days a week. So I do my mobility training a Sunday through Friday, and the only day that I take off is Saturday, which is how I have time to do this podcast now, and how I have the energy to do this podcast, and how I'm so excited because I planned this out months ago and then never did it, and now I'm feeling amazing. Now that I have more structure in my life, I was able to say, well, I don't go to the gym on Saturdays, but I still am now in that routine of waking up. So I have this time to finally do my podcast, something that I've been wanting to do. And I'm so proud, and that's why I'm so giddy and excited to be here. And my mind is jumping all over the place. But hey, it's the first episode. I hope you are all bearing with me through my jitters and through my nerves and through my excitement, because of course I will rein it in over the time and be more concise. But this being the first episode, me being so proud of myself to be here, I'm a little all over the place, even though I have notes. I've just been getting excited. Of course, when you write your notes out, you know kind of what you wanted to say. This just helps keep you on track. And I have been looking at it, but then I've been getting excited and going on these tangents. But they're all coming back to this point of like, what changes did I make? What did I do? And how did I get to the routine that I have now? And I did want to also touch upon, I had lost my libido, okay? TMI, but this is mommy talk. And hey, I'm sure a lot of us have been here. I lost my libido, and me and my husband are newly married. I'm in my 20s. That is a no-go. How am I supposed to sustain this marriage? I lost my libido, and I'm too young for this. So I am so happy to say that it came back really quickly. I'm still overweight, okay? I still have a lot of weight to lose, but just getting that energy, working out, I would say my libido came back in like 3 days. Like, it didn't take a long time. I don't know if that is going to be the case for everybody, but another TMI, I am someone who's always had regular periods. I've never really had hormonal issues growing up. I mean, even right now, my stepmom, I used to manage her gynecologist office, where she used to be an OBGYN, where she would deliver babies and such. Then she stopped that and became a gynecologist, and now she runs her own office. For those of you that need some HRT in Corona, California, Nurturing You, where she's a great doctor. So I would love to promote that for her. But I manage that, and yeah, I've never had hormone issues. I have crazy PMS, but there's nothing you can do about that besides calm yourself down. Especially when you're in childbearing age, you cannot do HRT. You can get it monitored, or like, you can get your levels drawn, like your blood drawn, and they can tell you if you have some things, but like typically exercise and food choices will be your way to manage your hormones, especially if like you're not menopausal and stuff like that. If you're in childbearing age, there's nothing you can take besides taking care of yourself if you're having those issues. So strength training, eating cleaner, exercising, those are all things that you can do if you're having hormonal issues, and libido is a hormonal issue. And just cleaning up my food. It's hard to say because I don't really have a lot of bad practices besides like eating nachos at night that I was doing. Like, we really only eat, the only fast food we really eat is In-N-Out. And, I will say even now still, we still go probably like once a week. It's my way of like, look, I cook 3 times a freaking day, once a week, one meal. Sometimes, yeah, I'm like, look, I don't really want to clean the kitchen right now. Can we just grab some In-N-Out? We don't eat the buns. My daughters don't eat the buns. We do eat the fries. Yes. I don't get any sauce on my stuff anymore. This is another tangent, but my daughters just get like the Flying Dutchman if I feel like they're really hungry. And I have them cut it in fours, and that's just the meat and cheese. It's like 2 patties, meat and cheese. And if they're not that hungry, then they just share one little cheeseburger patty. They have a few fries. They don't eat a whole carton. I share the fries with them, and that's it. And then, they eat snacks and fruits and things like that. But that's our In-N-Out run. So I've been a pretty good eater. It's just been my portions. My portions have been my problem, and tracking my protein intake. So protein is essential, especially for strength building. Protein is going to fuel your muscles, and you have to eat, or it is recommended to eat your goal weight in grams of protein. So my goal weight is anywhere between 150 and 160. So I'm trying to eat 150 to 160 grams protein a day. I do have to supplement with shakes. I would say I do about 2 to 3 scoops a day, so 75 to half, because I can't get myself to eat all of it sometimes, especially as a mom. But it does make it kind of easier, like, if I'm full or if I don't have a lot of time, I know I need to get that protein in, and it's a really quick shake to make, and that has made it a lot easier. So those are some of the things that I noticed with my energy, with my libido, small changes that I made, and how I've been feeling. Just amazing and energized, especially, I'm sure you can see it. I'm energized, and like, I don't want to cry on camera, but it just feels so good to feel good. Like it just feels so good. I feel so good. And I feel young again. I feel the way I mentally want to feel. Physically, of course, I wasn't feeling that way, but mentally, I wanted to feel energized and excited. I have this bubbly, lively personality. This is who I have been my whole life, and I feel like I lost that. And like, yeah, the old Kaylee is gone, but there's still little pieces of her in there. And this is a part of her that I like, and I love my energy. I love getting up at 5 a.m. and being like, yeah, let's go. My husband's like, how do you feel like this? Hey, at 5 a.m. And he's like, bruh, chill. Anyway, moving on. So I did want to touch upon why Mothering Holistically is the title of this podcast, and what it means to me, because holistic has been used, tried, and abused. People just love that buzzword, holistic. But do they really know what it means? Holistic means treating the whole person, the whole thing. It's treating the whole. So that's mind, body, spirit. And you cannot treat something without touching upon all those things. If you're working out and you're eating well, but you're depressed for some reason, or you're sad, that is going to take a part and play a role on how you work out, on what you choose to eat. If you're choosing just, bland, boring meals, or I don't know, I'm being, whatever. But you want to treat the whole person. So for me, I had to treat my mental, because my mental was tripping. And that is what I decided to do my journaling. So that was how I targeted treating that. And then I had to treat my body. And that's when I decided to strength train and mobility train. And that is what has been helping me to feel stronger and better and more energized, along with my food choices. So I started tracking. I started using MyFitnessPal, because when I was working out, I started gaining weight, and I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. And I know you are going to gain a little bit of weight. I did get on creatine, and I have started building muscle. So that's going to, bump up your weight just a little bit. Especially creatine is going to bump up your weight about 5 to 8 pounds in the beginning, or what I've heard. So yes, but no, I noticed that like I wasn't right. So I just wanted to track to make sure I wasn't tripping. And so I started using MyFitnessPal to track my food, but that has taught me how to properly put together meals as well, and knowing I'm putting way too much butter in things, or way too much oil or fats, and those are all fats. I'm putting way too much fats in things, or I'm eating too much fats. I need to cut that back and eat more carbs, which most people try to run from. But I was not eating a lot of carbs. I don't eat a lot of sugar, which I'm still keeping down, but balance. It all takes balance. Or I was, carb loading in the morning and then dying after breakfast and not having energy. Even though I started working out, I was like, what's going on? I realized I was just dumping carbs into my body, and then it was causing my body to be overloaded. And then that's when you get that itis. You want to, relax. You just want to sleep. So I had to figure out what are the right portions for me. That in turn, we're talking about holistic. So you as a mom learning the appropriate ways to cook, to eat is going to trickle into your family. That is going to help you better feed your kids, better prepare meals. And that is how you treat the whole. And treating you as a whole person is going to now treat your family, the whole system, because you are a major key, a major role in the system that is your family, that is your life. And if you're not treating yourself, if you're not taking care of yourself, then your system, your whole, is not being treated properly. So I started tracking and worrying about that. And that has been fueling me and energizing me and helping me to get through my day without crashing, without dying, and also helping me get stronger in my workouts. So that is why I genuinely feel mothering holistically is very important, because we are trying to not only take care of ourselves, which we sometimes feel guilty for or we feel selfish about. And I do feel like you're gonna know if your choices of self-care are selfish. You're gonna like, hopefully you have people around you, or things that you're able to listen to, maybe this, that tells you if you're going to get your nails done and you're not there for, like, I don't want to make people feel bad, but I'll say if you're not there for 4 hours, if your nails are only taking like 2 hours, do that. I was getting my nails done and I didn't touch upon that, but that is something that started to make me feel a little bit better with, my husband was like, go get your nails done. And that was making me feel a little bit better about myself. But I felt like it was a band-aid, especially because my true feeling of wanting to feel pretty or like taken care of was getting my body together. And not just, like I said, aesthetically, but health wise, so I can have energy and strength to be with my daughters and play with them and pick them up and throw them in the air and things like that. So back to my point. So yes, all of this is going to have a positive correlation. When you take care of yourself, you're able to better show up in life. You're able to better show up as a wife, a mom, a friend, a daughter, an employee, a CEO, whatever it is that you're doing in your life. When you take care of yourself and you prepare yourself for life, because this is what is preparing you for life. You got to be strong to take on life. You got to be mobile to walk, to bend down, to help someone up. You have to be fed. We can't be starving ourselves, and we can't be overeating, or else we will become sluggish. So we have to properly feed ourselves to fuel ourselves and to strengthen ourselves. And so this is just the start of how I'm going to help encourage you with these small steps to take, and hopefully start to become the person, the mom, the wife that you have always seen yourself being, and you couldn't figure out why you couldn't get there. Just take those small steps, small things. As I close this episode, I wanted to challenge you to make a small step, whether that is going on a walk after your meals, or loading the dishwasher throughout the day, so that way after dinner you can start it instead of waiting until night, or washing a load of clothes, no matter the size, once a day to help keep you up on your laundry. Whatever it is, whatever small steps will help you get to that goal. Like for me, like I said, my goal was to start losing weight so that I could feel better. I stopped eating late at night, and I put into place things that would help me do that. I brushed my teeth I brushed my teeth after dinner so that I wouldn't feel the need to eat. again later on in the night. So just small actionable steps that will help you to further yourself and get you closer to those goals. I will say I've been reading this book that my aunt gave me too long ago, but divine timing. I do feel like it's perfect that I picked it up now in the season that I am in, and it's titled Empowering Dreamers to Become Achievers. It says in there that you have to become comfortable with the uncomfortable, because growth and change happens in controlled discomfort. So you don't want to be overly stressed, of course, but a little bit of stress is what's going to push you and allow you to know that you are in this growth stage of discomfort. So remember that when you're like, I don't want to do this, I'm scared, I'm nervous, then you're in that perfect little area to make a change in your life and grow as a person, because you cannot grow without discomfort. Our babies are growing in a lot of discomfort. They're teething, their teeth are coming in, it hurts, but they're growing, and we're so excited that they're getting teeth, but they're like, this hurts, I don't want these teeth. No, but it's good pain for us to grow. So think about that when your baby's teeth grow in. And I would love to hear from you. I would love to hear what small steps you took. So I am at Kaylee Berlinee on Instagram and TikTok, and I believe, YouTube. I'm at Kaylee Berlinee. So tag me, hashtag Mothering Holistically, if you do make those changes that I hope you make. So just at me, Kaylee Berlinee. That's Kaylee, B as in boy, Erlinee. At Kaylee Berlinee, hashtag Mothering Holistically. And so we can support one another. I would love to hear from you, see what changes you've made, and shout you out. And I will also be creating a Facebook page so that we can, all connect and share our stories, because maybe me being a twin mom is specific to some, but not specific to others who maybe have a toddler and a baby. And so if you want to share those stories and you're another fit mama that wants to help empower or share how you've pushed through those obstacles and those mental barriers, I'd love to hear you all encourage each other and share. So I will be creating a Facebook page, and that so I'm recording this, but I'll be making the Facebook page before I post this, so that where you can find the Facebook page and of course me and everything like that will be in the description down below. And I hope to see you all there. So just to recap, what you can do to start mothering holistically is to take small steps towards your goals and towards who you really want to be. Holistic means caring for the whole. So mothering holistically means caring for everyone, which includes you. You as a mom cannot give from an empty cup. So my goal for this podcast, Mothering Holistically, is just I understand how it feels to feel lonely. Like I said, I'm a stay-at-home mom, and sometimes I get overwhelmed and I feel like people don't understand. And so I wanted to create this for a community, of course, for myself, but hopefully there's others out there that are looking for a community and looking for others who understand them. And so that is the purpose of this. And I just want to help encourage through my journey and things that I'm learning in terms of health, fitness, and mothering. So I just want to have this as a conversation to share and bring you all along with me. So if you like this first episode and feel that it resonated with you, please give it a thumbs up by clicking that like button. And if you feel like it could encourage someone you know, feel free to share this. And subscribe while also hitting that notification bell to never miss any future episodes. Until next time, remember to mother holistically and thrive authentically. I'm your host, Kaylee Berlinee, and together we're winning.